Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about a film called Illustrious Corpses. This is a 1976 movie. It's recently released by Kino. It's directed by Francesco Rosi, and Kino also released Lucky Luciano on the same day it released this film. And I did a video discussion of Lucky Luciano a few days ago. I think it's fair to say Illustrious Corpses is probably the more successful of the two films. So I liked there's many segments in Lucky Luciano I thought were outstanding. This is a film based on a novel, and it concerns the assassination of a judge. It opens with the assassination of a judge, and soon to follow is a few more judges that are assassinated. So it's a police procedural. Lino Ventura plays a police detective who's described as the best one in this fictionalized state, fictionalized country. He begins his investigation, and very soon he believes that he has found a lone gunman responsible for these murders with a motive of revenge. But soon we begin to feel that perhaps it isn't a lone gunman, perhaps it's a conspiracy. We get a very eerie sense of paranoia that runs all through this film, and it doesn't, you very easily can relate this film to a film like The Parallax View with Warren Beatty, directed by Alan Pakula, which concerns that lone gunman and that conspiracy paranoia as well. But Rosi is also he's also making a political movie, as he usually does. And even though this is an unnamed country, it certainly looks like Italy. Although I must admit that the locations that are used in this film don't look like any Italy I've seen before. They use some very kind of monumental kind of locations, both interiors and exteriors. But the events taking place in this film on the social in the social sphere is very much of what was going on in Italy at the time. There were judges being assassinated, and there were we see protesters, mobs of protesters in the street. There were strikes. There's a trash strike during the events of this film. So we see trash everywhere, but we also see some magnificent ancient buildings, and it all of which leads to a kind of abstract quality to it. We don't really have a firm idea of where exactly we actually are, and Rosi's point in this politically charged drama is that although there is a democratically elected government, it's very weak. It's being besieged by these protesters and perhaps terrorists. But I think Rosi sees the state, and the protesters see the state as having been degraded. And although the mafiosa is not directly mentioned in the film, we know they're there. They actually are mentioned when a very demagogic politician gets up and rants Mussolini style about how we're going to have to go after the mafia, and the crowd yells back at him, "Well, you are the mafia," and the whole state structure is just, it's infected by this lack of human values, and with these murders of judges, and we get a sense that we're about to see a coup. That there's going to be that the stage is being set for a coup, and that the state itself is falling apart. And Rosi is not a he's not there to give us answers. We're there. There's ambiguity throughout this film. We're supposed to we're supposed to think about these things that we're seeing, analyze the situation. And he's quoted Rosi is quoted as saying once that it's a dreadful situation in which we can identify the evils of society, but we're unable to eliminate them. Actually, that wasn't Rosi, that was from a critic of the film. So we're presented with, yeah, here's the evil of society, but we seem almost powerless. How are we going to make things better? And as the truth and versions of the truth come to light on these murders, we get a Communist Party functionary, and the Communist Party was part of the political structure of the country, and certainly Rosi's sympathies are with the left wing, although he was never actually a member of the Communist Party. But when one of the functionaries is presented of what appears to be the real version of explanation of what has happened, his response is, the truth is not always revolutionary. And this is an inversion of a famous quote that telling the truth is revolutionary. And I think this may be Rosi's point. This may be the step one in how societies can rid themselves of this oppressive nature. The resistance for it is to seek the truth, to identify the truth. And so, but I don't want to make this film sound too intellectual and too political, because it's also a fairly entertaining paranoid thriller, and it has some terrific performances in Lino Ventura for sure. And it was great casting of Ventura, because Gian Maria Volante was the go-to movie star for Francesco Rosi, but he thought that there would be too much of a remove between the character, the detective, and the audience. Ventura had played many policemen in his career, as well as many villains, but he had that instantaneous recognition by the audience, and he's seen as somebody the audience can identify with, and this is certainly what Rosi wanted us to feel about this character. And we also get Charles Vanel from, he was in so many great French films, and he is in a subsequent Francesco Rosi film. He plays the father, the old man father in Three Brothers, which is about 5 years after this. He's a very old man. He's in his 80s here, Charles Vanel. But we also get a very lively, vital performance from Max von Sydow, and we also see Fernando Rey at his wryest, the wry qualities of his screen persona, very much used, and we get tremendous, like I said before, we get tremendous locations. It's just amazing, some of these locations, and they're so varied, and they really contribute to the eeriness of the film. So this is Illustrious Corpses. A movie I really found both entertaining and very thought-provoking as well. Thanks a lot for everybody who managed to listen to me this far. I really do appreciate it. Comments are welcome. You guys take care.